Okay, hello everyone. So we are solving CUET PG previous year questions. There are approximately 150 questions which will be solved. Half the questions will be solved by me, I am Muskan, and half of the questions will be solved by Disha. We both are NET and GATE qualified, and we look forward to this particular class, and we both urge you all to be more active in the class. So okay everyone, so I am changing the slide, and this is your first question. You can type in the answers in the chat box. Okay, yes, I can see most of you have answered this particular question correctly. The term psychophysics was coined by Gustav Fechner, and Gustav Fechner was really inspired by the work of Ernst Weber, and Gustav Fechner also gave one of the laws of psychophysics, where he said that there is a logarithmic function of the changes which are there in the stimuli in terms of the initial stimuli which was there. And Ernst Weber talked about just noticeable difference. Hermann Waltz talked about reaction time. He was the first person to do a study on reaction time, and Edward Titchener, we all know, he was the founder of the school structuralism. Okay then, very well done all of you. Moving ahead to the next question. Which of the following measures ignores the sign before adding the deviations? Okay. Okay then. So some people said standard deviation, some people said average deviation. The correct answer here is average deviation. Why? Because the question basically asks the measure of variability that ignores the sign. We know that standard deviation can be positive or negative also. When we plot normal probability curve, it can be positive or negative, so it takes into account the positive or negative sign. So does quartile deviation and interrange. So average deviation is the only aspect which does not take into account the positive or negative signs, because when we are going to add all of the deviations which are there and divide them by the number of deviations which were there, it is going to be cut off, like it is going to be neutralized, because here we have 0, this is our negative side, this is our positive side. So if I am going to add all of the deviations from 0 to positive side and from 0 to negative side, they would all neutralize itself. So it does not take into account the signs before adding, because it will neutralize anyway. So here's 3, average deviation is the correct answer. Okay, I can see a message here. Someone has asked, kindly please explain interrange. Okay, I think there is nothing like interrange, but I think it is interquartile range that they are talking about. So we know that we have 4 quartiles. Sorry. So there would be quartile 1, quartile 2, quartile 3 and quartile 4. So each quartile accounts for 25%. So when we are asked to calculate the interrange quartile, we deduct Q3 from Q1, sorry. Right, so that So I think it should be interquartile range rather than just interrange. There is nothing like interrange. There is range which deducts the highest from the lowest. Okay, moving ahead to the next question. It is a matching. So please give it a little time and solve, though it is really easy. Okay. Glad to see all of you being active in the class. Yes, the answer is going to be 3. Let us see how. Ivan Pavlov gave the concept of classical conditioning. Right? B.F. Skinner talked about operant conditioning. Edward Tolman talked about what? Latent learning. He did researches on rats in the maze, and he saw that learning is happening, but it will only be shown whenever there is a motor behind it. Then Albert Bandura researched upon, or he did a study on observational learning. Okay, moving ahead to the next question. What is the spiral shaped structure in the inner ear containing mechanoreceptors for hearing? Okay. Okay, yes, correct. Cochlea is the spiral shaped structure, right? And organ of corti is also responsible for hearing. So here the answer is going to be cochlea, because spiral shaped structure is cochlea only, but inside the cochlea we have organ of corti, which is responsible for converting the neuro impulse. Right? Here transduction happens. So there can be times when you can be asked a question like, where does transduction happen in hearing? So it happens in the hair cell, and organ of corti plays a very, very important role in the same. Right, let me change the slide to the next question. There are 2 statements. Please try to solve it. Okay, a lot of you have answered 4, which is correct. Let us see. Let us read the question. So the question says that token economy is based on the principle of insight. No, insight is sudden learning. Right? No, token economy is based on the principle of operant conditioning. Okay? And so statement 1 is going to be incorrect. Let us see what about statement 2. Biofeedback is a form of applied behavior analysis and behavior modification. Yes, with the help of biofeedback, we can observe the physiological changes that are there, and it can be actively used in behavioral modification. People who also learn relaxation techniques in hair in order to balance or in order to manage their behavior, and it is used widely in anxieties and phobias as well. So statement 1 is incorrect and statement 2 is correct. Very well done all of you. Okay, moving ahead to the sixth question. Please give it a read and try to answer. Okay, I see a lot of mixed answers. Some people are like 1, some people are like 2, some are like 3. Okay, we'll discuss it thoroughly then. So, the question talks about positively skewed distribution. So, firstly, let me another slide and let us discuss what is positively skewed distribution or what is skewed distribution. So, skewness, as we know, is basically when there is no symmetry, or like when the curve is a little asymmetrical or lopsided. Herein, when there is skewness, there can be two different types of skewness: positive skewness and negative skewness. Zero skewness is basically normal probability curve, so I'm not talking about it. So skewness will be represented by the tail, right? So here the tail will be on what side? The positive side. This is the positive side, this is the negative side. So the tail will be here and most of the cases will be jumped up here. Like they would pile up here on the negative side. Same goes for negative skewness. Where would be the tail? Where would be the skewness? It would go on the negative side. So here would be the tail and most of the cases would pile up towards the positive side or the right side, right? So we know the basics, basic of how it looks. Firstly, let us solve this question and then we would talk more about it. So the question says that which of the following is true for positively skewed curve? So we just learned it. Is it skewed to right side? Is it skewed to right side? Yes or no? We just talked about it. Yes, it is skewed to the right side. Yes. The skewness is towards the right end. So, A is going to be a part of our answer. And B, most of the cases pile up on the left hand side. Yes, the cases will pile up on the opposite end. So, A and B only are the correct options here. So, 1 is the correct answer here. Now, in this particular type of, like whenever there is skewness, then median will be taken as a central tendency because mean gets compromised. For example, there are most of the people who scored really low, but there are going to be few people here who would have very high score, and due to these people our mean would get compromised and it will get shifted towards the positive side, even though it should be here towards the negative side because most of the people got low scores. So here median or the midpoint is going to be the best indicator for central tendency and mode is here. Most of the cases are here. Same goes for here. Even in negative skewness, most of the people will be scored very high. Maybe there was such a like easy test, most of the people got very high scores. But herein what will happen? There would be few people who would still get a 0. Maybe there were few people who were still absent. So because of those people, our mean, our average would get stretched towards the negative side. Herein the median or the midpoint would again be the best indicator for central tendency and mode is here. Most of the people are here. Okay, so median is the best indicator whenever we are dealing with positively skewed or negatively skewed distribution as such. So we are done with this particular question. Moving ahead to the next question, please give it a read. most of you have answered correctly. It is going to be 4, but let us discuss it. So, the statement 1 states that value of product movement correlation or Pearson correlation in general can be more than 1 in some exceptional cases. No, the Pearson movement correlation would always range from -1 to +1. So, statement 1 is incorrect. Now, even significant correlation does not tell us anything about causal relationship. No, it does not tell us anything about cause and effect. It just tells us about how much correlated or what is the relationship between two variables. So this statement is correct. It is saying that it does not tell us anything about the causal relationship. So statement 1 is false and statement 2 is true. Very well done, everyone. Moving ahead to the next question. Okay, all of you have answered correctly. It is going to be 2. But then let us read the question. The question says that name the philosopher who believed that some knowledge was inborn. It is a nativistic approach, right? But John Locke did not believe in nativistic approach. He gave a term named as blank slate. Only tabula rasa. He said that people are born as blank slate. Everything is nurture. People learn things. No. Plato was a nativistic, right? Socrates and Plato both were nativistic. They both believed that some knowledge is inbuilt in us, but Aristotle was not. He believed in nurture a lot. Okay, so B is going to be a part of our answer. Then C, we have read René Descartes whenever we talked about dualism or interactionism and all, but there can be timing or not sure, maybe he believed in inborn knowledge or not. Okay, let us move to the next options. So it was Joseph Gall. We know that he talked about phrenology. The bigger the head, the higher the IQ, more bumps on the head, more the IQ, and localized functions also he talked about. So D cannot be a part, A also cannot be a part. So all the questions which have A or D will be out. We are very sure that B is going to be a part of the answer. So 2 is going to be the answer, right? B and C. So please try to solve your questions like this also. Elimination will work a lot of the time. I understand that there is negative marking, but please do use logical, like this type of elimination, then your answer would be correct most of the time, right? So very well done, most of you answered it correctly. Moving ahead to question number 9, please solve. Okay, let us read the question. The question says that which among the following is not true about learned helplessness? What is learned helplessness? When the person feels that they do not have control over the situation that they are in. So, learned helplessness is marked by motivational, emotional, or like cognitive deficits. Yes, it is. Because the person will feel really low on motivation, maybe they would not have the push to do anything because they do not feel that they have control. Same in terms of emotional as well as cognitive aspects as well, right? Depressed people are often in a state of learned helplessness, yes. right? Individuals high on learned helplessness often set unrealistically high goals for themselves, right? So yes, it is true. They will not set, like, it is not true. They will not set high goals for themselves. They would want to, like, they would not even feel like doing anything. They feel that there is no control, there is nothing that they can do. So they will not set any goals as such. So 3 is going to be a correct answer because they are asking not true. And yes, Martin Seligman pioneered the study of learned helplessness. Let us move to the next question. Please try and answer. I would say that all of you should try to answer. Like, no one is even judging you. Like, if it's correct, not correct, whatever. It's totally fine, but try to answer. It will give you the confidence as well as you would like feel like yes, you know it and you have solved it. Right? So please try to solve it. Like, please try to answer. Okay, very well done, everyone. So, let us read the question. The question says that which of the following is not true about client centered therapy? Carl Rogers developed the client centered therapy. Yes, he did. The primary goal of the client centered therapy is to promote the healthy psychological growth of the individual. Yes, they talk about genuineness, they talk about unconditional positive regard, trust, etc. So, yes, they want to promote the healthy growth. Then the therapist creates an environment that allows a client to achieve self-enhancement and self-actualization. Yes, they like it is from the humanistic school. Like they talked about fully functioning individuals. So yes, and at last the basic therapeutic strategy is to remove and dispute the irrational feelings. No, it is not true. So 4 is going to be the answer. What in which therapy do we deal with or do we aim to remove the irrational feeling experienced by the client? Which therapy is it? Yes. Yes, in RDBT as well as in CBT. Okay, very well done, everyone. I can see that all of you are doing so good so far. Okay, moving ahead to the next question. Please read and try to answer. Okay, so there are two statements. Statement number 1 says that the primary goal of the client centered therapy is to promote healthy psychological growth. Yes, it is. And statement 2 says that the goal of the psychoanalysis is strengthening of ego functions and promote insight to the unconsciousness. Yes, that's what psychoanalysis focuses upon. It tries to uncover the unconsciousness and tries to focus or to strengthen the ego function that we have. So both statement 1 and statement 2 are correct. So very well done. Most of you answered correctly. Then moving ahead to the next question. Okay, very well done. Jensen is our correct answer here. Level 1 and level 2 were proposed by Arthur Jensen. Which theory of intelligence did Cattell give? Yes, fluid intelligence, crystallized intelligence, and these were second order factors. Yes, very well done. Spearman talked about G factor, S factor. There was two factor theory which was proposed by Spearman, and Thurston talked about 7 primary mental abilities. Very well done, everyone. Moving ahead to the next question, question number 13. Please read the question and try to answer. Okay, everyone. So the question asks, which of the following is represented by Greek alphabet rho? Right. Pearson product movement correlation. No, we represent it with small r, correlation coefficient. Right. Chi-square in case, no, chi-square is represented like this, capital X. So here also they are talking about chi-square. And Spearman rank order, Spearman row test, Spearman row correlation, that's what we call it also. So fourth is our correct answer here. Very well done, everyone. Moving ahead to the next question, which of the following correlations explain maximum variance? Okay, so whenever we are looking at the correlations and we want to tell which correlation has the maximum variance, we ignore the signs here, because the sign just tells us if the correlation is positive in nature or is it negative in nature. Positive means there is a direct relationship, which means if one increases, the other also increases. For example, if the social support of an individual increases, the self-esteem also increases. This is an example of positive. And negative is basically inverse relationship, wherein one would increase and other would decrease. So if serotonin levels would increase, depression would decrease, like hypothetically, like this, like these are cause and effect based, but still I'm giving it in terms of correlation. Okay, so inverse relationship. Now looking at this question, so obviously 3 is going to be our correct answer here. Always remember that correlation cannot be more than 1. So there were Jamia papers, I guess, wherein in the options were given like 1.25, which was incorrect, but a lot of students would have marked this. So please take into account the basics of the topic, right? Don't just like go and mark it. Okay, then moving ahead to the next question, question number 15. There are 2 statements. Please read it and try to answer. Okay, okay. Very well done, everyone. It looks like we are really prepared for the exam. It's nice. Okay, let us read statement 1. Statement 1 says that as per the law of parsimony, people prefer complex explanation of a phenomena than simple explanation. No, it's just the opposite. According to the law of parsimony, we rely on the simplest explanation possible. We prefer the simplest explanation which is there. And the second statement says that the law of parsimony involves the consideration of a variety of explanations. No, it would just consider the simplest explanation. That's it, and they would consider it to be the correct one. So both these statements are incorrect. So 2 is going to be our correct answer here. Let us move ahead further. Question number 16. So there is a list of phobia and a list of situation. You have to match the phobia with the situation that phobia is elicited in. Okay, let us read the question. So agoraphobia. When does agoraphobia agoraphobia is basically the fear of entering public spaces. Xenophobia is when the person feels scared of the strangers or they have fear of the strangers. Acrophobia is when the person fears heights. And at last, pyrophobia is fear. So A is 2 and B is 1, which gives us our answer. The answer would be option number 1. Very well done, everyone. Moving ahead to the next question. Okay, yes, we discussed about this in the first question itself. Who among the following did the research to determine the smallest difference between two weights that could be detected is just the definition of just noticeable difference? Right? Who did the research on that? Weber. So 2 is the correct answer here. Very well done, everyone. Moving ahead to question number 18. Okay, someone is saying that I should show the 16th question again. Solve this question and then I would roll back to that slide. Okay, all of you answered correctly. It is spontaneous recovery when there is a period of extinction, and after that there is a sudden appearance of the learned response again. This is known as spontaneous recovery. What is stimulus generalization? Anyone? Okay. Yes, it is that we will start to elicit that same response for similar type of stimuluses that are there. So it is stimulus generalization. Stimulus discrimination is that we are able to differentiate between different stimuluses which are there, and we have been conditioned for a specific response itself. Higher order learning is the second order learning, which is done after the basic association is done, and we try to add on another stimulus to that is higher order conditioning. Moving ahead to question number 19, please give it a read and then we would solve it. Let us read this particular question. The question says that there are two statements, which is assertion and reason. The assertion states that normal distribution curve, when it is plotted, it never touches the x-axis. Let me add another slide. Let us discuss the basic concepts related to normal distribution curve, normal distribution or normal probability curve. So normal distribution is nothing that but most of the responses or most of the observation will lie in the middle. That is normal distribution. For example, when you will conduct a test in your class, most of the people will score averagely, and normal probability curve is that most of the observation are there in the middle. In normal probability curve, it is symmetrical in nature. Equal number of responses will be there in negative end as well as there in positive end. It is symmetrical in nature, and here in normal probability curve, the mean, median and mode, all of them will coincide at one point. They will be at one point, and normal probability curve never touches, the tails of the normal probability curve never touches the x-axis. Why? Because it ranges from negative infinity to positive infinity. Okay? And when we put it in a logical or a theoretical sense, then it ranges from -3 to +3. Okay? Let us solve this question and then we would discuss a little more about normal probability curve. So, okay. So assertion is normal distribution curve when plotted never touches the x-axis. Yes, it is correct. But why does it happen? Because the range of the normal distribution is from negative infinity to plus infinity. So yes, one is going to be our correct answer, right? That A is correct and R is correctly explaining our assertion. Okay, let me read the okay. So about NPC, let me add another slide. So as we discussed, there, like in logical sense or in practical sense, it can range only from -3 to +3, but in theoretical sense it can range from -infinity to +infinity, positive infinity. So in the first standard deviation, there are going to be 34% of the people, both negative as well as positive standard deviation. Then 14% of people are going to be there in the second standard deviation, negative and positive, and at last there 2% of people are going to be there. So whenever you are asked about any percentile based questions, always refer to this. So the mean would always have a standard deviation of 0. Okay, so for example, if the mean is 100 and the standard deviation score is 15, this is there for IQ most of the time. Okay, and this is the 50th percentile, 34 plus 15 plus 2, when we add on them together it is 50. So 50% of the people are below the average and 50% of people are above the average. Okay, so for example, you will be given a question like the Z score is 0, tell us what will be the percentile. And it can be vice versa also, that you will be given a percentile, such as you are given the percentile is 2%, then what would be the Z score if the percentile is 2%? If there is a percentile rank of 2, what would be the adjacent or what would be the Z score for that particular aspect? Yes, Manasvi, very well done. It would be -2. Right? So we add on all the things before it. So all the percentages before it. So 2 is there here, so -2. Right, so if we would be given that percentile rank of 84 is there, so it would be +1. Okay, and so on. Like opposite question in this regard can also be asked, that you are given that there is a Z score of +1, tell us the percentile rank, it would be 84. Right, so that was about normal distribution curve, and this is how we calculate percentile from Z score and Z score from percentile. And I'm rolling back to question number 16. Somebody asked me to please give it a look, and then I would move back. Okay, Ishika is saying, ma'am, can you please repeat Z score and percentile? Okay, I will repeat that. Like, I'm just giving you a crux of it. I think there is a video on normal distribution curve that I have made. I will try to share the link in the group after the class. Please go through that in order to get a full detailed view, but then I would repeat it again. Okay, are we done with question number 16 now? Whosoever said it. Okay, moving back to percentile rank. Let me add another slide and we'll understand it one more time. So, percentile rank. We know that there is a normal probability curve, there is a normal distribution curve which is symmetrical in nature. We know that mean, median and mode lie here, they are all coincided. So, the percentile ranks are calculated on the basis of the standard deviation or on the basis of the Z score which is there, or the standard score which is there. Okay? So hypothetically, as we discussed, the Z score can range from -infinity to +infinity, but when we actually plot it, then it only ranges from -3 to +3. How? In the first standard deviation or in the first standard score, here is the positive side, here is the negative side, there would be 34% of people. In the second standard deviation, there would be 14% of the people. Mind you, I am talking about sample here, not population. Populations is in the pointers and all, but we need to know about like the sample only. The question will be asked from this particular aspect only. Okay? And in the third standard deviation, there are 2% of the people. So, third 2% of the people are here. Okay? Now, these are the standard scores, which tells us, which takes mean into the reference, and it tells us how much our score that we are getting is deviated from the mean. It is somewhat like standard deviation, we can say. Okay? Standard score such as Z score, T score, percentile, like mean score, stand score, all of them are there. Okay? So you can be given percentile and you can be asked to calculate Z score, and vice versa question can also be there. So for example, a question is asked saying that what is the Z score or what is the standard score of a person with a percentile rank of let's say 16. My screen has frozen, just give it a moment, but you can calculate till that. Z score of a person or standard score of a person who has a like percentile rank of 16. Quickly, please answer. We have so many other questions that we have to do. Okay. 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 Let us look at the graph again. Okay. Here in the question says 16. So when I add 2 and 14, it gives me 16 already. So a person who has a percentile rank of 16, they would lie here, which means that they are ahead of the 16% of the people in the whole sample. So they would have a Z score of -1. Okay? It cannot be +1. In order to calculate the percentile rank for +1, we would have to add everything below this point. So 34 plus 34 plus 14 plus 2 will be done, which would come out to be 84. Okay? So all of them are added. If I say a person has a percentile rank of 50, what will be their Z score? Yes, very well done. It would be 0. I think now we have got a hang of it. We can move ahead now. Please learn this particular graph. You will be definitely asked a question or two about this. Right. Okay, very well done everyone. Moving ahead to the next question. Question number 20. Please be a little quick in answering. Okay. What is the sensation when you feel that you or the environment around you are moving or spinning? done. It is vertigo. In vertigo we feel that ways. Extra locomotive perception, it is really different. It has something in relation to the perception. It means that we would still have a backup locomotive on standby for emergency. ठीक है, so it is in regard to the perception. ठीक है, it is a Coriolis effect. It has a illusion, had nothing to do with the environment spinning, or these are both the effect and the illusions which are there. So vertigo is the correct answer here. Vertigo headaches are also there. Please, moving ahead to the next question, please do next few questions quickly. They are just theoretical, no explanation is needed. So what is the full range of human sensitivity to pure tones? Okay, someone has raised their hand. If you have a query, please do ask. Okay, most of you have answered correctly. We have a threshold ranging from 20 Hertz to 20,000 Hertz for sound and for tunes. So very well done everyone. Moving ahead to the next question. It is a assertion reason question. Please give it a read and we will try to answer. Okay, some are saying 2, some are saying 3. Let us read the question. The question says that arousal refers to the level of activation. Yes. In assertion reason question, always make this a point that it should be explaining why it is called this. Such as in the NPC curve question that with this, it was explaining why it never touches x-axis. Right, so similarly, let us read, does the R explains our assertion or not. So it says that deep sleep and mania are on the extreme ends of continuous arousal. Yes, they are. So the statement is correct, but it is not explaining why arousal refers to the level of activation. So A and R both are correct statements in themselves, but R is not the correct explanation of A. So 2 is going to be our answer here. Very well done who answered 2. So moving ahead to the next question, there are 2 statements. Okay, let us read the question. There are different types of long-term memory. Yes, we have declarative, non-declarative, and under them episodic, semantic, procedural. So there are different types, sure. So statement 1 is correct. Sensory memory and working memory are types of long-term memory. No, they are not. They are different. Sensory memories are sensory register and working memory short-term memory. No, they are totally different. So statement 1 is correct and statement 2 is incorrect. Very well done everyone. So moving ahead to the next question. there is a list of psychologists, and adjacent to that there are concepts which have been proposed by them. So please give it a read and then we will try to answer. Okay, let us read the question. So Atkinson and Shiffrin gave us 3 system approach to memory. Right, they talked about that first of all we have our sensory memory, then it moves to short term memory, then long term memory. Right, so 3 system approach to memory. George Sperling did research on iconic memory. So he talked about the existence of sensory memory and he took into account the partial report procedure. Hermann Ebbinghaus, he started to learn the nonsense syllable in the CVC format. He also gave us the curve of forgetting. We forget most of what we have learned in the first 9 hours. Craig and Lockhart gave us 3 levels of processing. First of all, we process it in terms of phonetics, then in terms of the semantic, and then at last we term it or we try to connect or relate it into something meaningful. So A is 2 and B is 4. So 2 is our correct answer here. Very well done everyone. Moving ahead to the next question, question number 25. Which part of the central nervous system controls endocrine functions? Hypothalamus controls the functions or the endocrine functions which are there, and it plays a very important and a crucial link between the nervous and endocrine system, and it is the regulating center. It helps in endocrine regulation, it also helps in our temperature regulation, autonomic system, circadian rhythm regulation, and basic biological clocks that we have, hunger, thirst regulation, etc. So it is a regulatory point and it creates as a crucial link between our nervous system as well as our endocrine system. What does amygdala gets involved in? What does amygdala do? Yes, it is related to the emotional processing. Okay, moving ahead. Hippocampus for memory, medulla oblongata has to do a lot with our, like it is like lying just above our spinal cord, so it is for the vital functions which are necessary for our survival, such as cardiovascular control, respiratory control, reflexes and coordination are also managed by medulla. Regulation of sleep, arousal and all, that is like arousal is majorly for RAS, reticular activation system, but medulla is also responsible. Okay, moving ahead to the next question, which talks about like which of the following terms represents deficiency of emotional response? Okay, Othello error is no such word like this. There is Othello syndrome, which is there, wherein the person feels really paranoid, and it has been taken up from the play written by William Shakespeare. Idiosyncratic error has to do with the grammatical error that we have, and alexithymia is actually the deficiency of emotional response showcased by the person. And at last, paralanguage is what? It is the elements of non-verbal communication, such as voice, pitch, rhythm, and like gestures, etc. These are there in paralanguage, the other elements of language. Right, so here the correct answer is alexithymia. Moving ahead to the next question, fairly very simple. Just give it a read and answer. Okay, everyone. So the question asks that a person striving for excellence and mastery in a task is high on achievement, need for achievement. Right, affiliation would ask for more belongingness, power would be for direction, leadership, etc., and approval for validation, though there is no thing like need for approval. Right, moving ahead to question number 28. Please try to answer. Yes, very well done, everyone. The schedule of reinforcement in which every correct response is reinforced. In the continuous reinforcement schedule, each response would be given a reinforcement. In intermittent, it is partial. Not all the correct responses will be reinforced, and partial works even better. Right, fixed ratio is, for example, after you give me 4 correct response, then I would give you a reinforcement. And variable is, I can give you reinforcement after n number. For example, I can give you after 1 response, then maybe after 100 responses, and so on. So here 2 is our correct answer, which is continuous reinforcement schedule. Moving ahead to which of the following is not a part of Wechsler-Adult intelligence scale? Okay, so Wechsler-Adult intelligence scale will include concepts, or will have verbal comprehension index, working memory index, which is responsible for our IQ, all of them. Processing speed is also responsible for our IQ. No, episodic memory is not. So here 4 is going to be our correct answer. So the question asks which of the following is not a part, so 4th is the correct answer here. There are various indexes which Wechsler-Adult intelligence scale measures. Then we have 2 statements again, assertion, reason. Please read it and try to answer. So the question says, the assertion says that culture fair intelligence test is speed cum power test. Yes, it is a CFIT is a speed cum power test. Speed is basically there would be a time limit. You have to complete it in a time limit, or the quicker you complete, the higher the score according to the norms that you will get. Power test has to do with difficulty level. The difficulty level keeps on increasing with each question. So why? Now A is correct. Now let us see if R is correct or not. There is a time limit for each subtest included in the culture fair intelligence test. Yes, there is a time limit which is there given for different subheads which are there for CFIT. There are 3 minutes, 4 minutes, etc. which have been delegated. So R is also correct, but does it explains A? So culture fair intelligence test is speed cum power test because there is a time limit for each subtest. So it explains why it is known as a speed test because it has a time limit, but it does not explain why it is known as the power test, right? So that's why we would go ahead with option number 2 because it just explains our assertion partially, not fully. Okay. Moving ahead to question number 31. Okay, there are very mixed answers that we have gotten for this. Anybody else who would like to try? Okay, let us look at the assertion first. So the assertion says that the size of the action potential is unaffected by increases in the intensity of stimulation beyond the threshold level. Okay, let's break it down a little. So it says that, for example, you were listening to a tone with 20 hertz and listening to a tone with 40 hertz, hypothetically. So they say that the size of the action potential will be unaffected by increases in the intensity. Yes, the duration of the action potential would remain the same even if the voice is 40 hertz, 50 hertz to 20,000 hertz, etc. Right? So intensity, there would nothing happen to the action potential if intensity changes. For example, if you are getting my voice at a certain level, okay, so it would not get affected even if I start, like the action potential would take the same time even if I start speaking slowly or start speaking more loudly. So but it should just be beyond the threshold level. So A is correct. Now R. All or none phenomena states that all neurons must fire at the same time. No, all or none phenomena states that either the neuron will fire fully or will not fire at all. So A is correct and R is incorrect. So 3 is going to be our correct answer. Okay. Now moving ahead to the next question. Question number 32. It is also a assertion reason type question. Please try to answer. assertion says that Freud's patient suffered from a nervous disorder for which he and other doctor could not find any physical cause. Yes, psychosomatic disorders were there in a lot of the Freud's patient. Then the reason states that Freud proposed that there is an unconscious mind into which we push or repress all of our threatening urges and desires. These repressed urges, in trying to surface, creates the nervous disorder in his patient. Yes, this is also correct. So let us see if if reasoning is explaining our assertion. So Freud's patient suffered from a nervous disorder for which they could not find any cause because there is an unconscious mind into which we push and repress. So it is explaining our assertion correctly. So 1 is going to be our correct answer here. It is correct. Psychosomatic disorders were there which were previously or at Freud's time was known as hysteria. Okay. Moving ahead to question number 33. Please give it a read and then we would try to answer. Okay, so let us read the question. Most of you have answered correctly. Let us see. So, assertion says that adoption studies have demonstrated that schizophrenia is not influenced by genetic factors. No, that's not true. Adoption studies also give us a peek into the genetic factors also, right? They also tell us somehow that, okay, for example, let me give you. So adoption studies, so there would be an adoptive parent and there would be a biological parent. So they would see how much effect is there. So A is incorrect here. There are genetic factor. There is 60-40 when it comes to schizophrenia. Now environmental condition give rise to schizophrenic disorders. Yes, environmental conditions can also give rise to schizophrenic conditions, but then so we can say that A is not fully correct here, right? So even though there is few reasoning which can be made that adoption studies have demonstrated that schizophrenia is not influenced by genetic factor because environmental condition can give rise, but no, A is totally incorrect. We cannot go with that reasoning. So 4 is going to be our correct answer here. Moving ahead to the next option. Okay, easy, simple. Please try to answer it quickly. Okay. Is it fine now, Geetha? Okay. Yes. So let us solve this particular question. Question number 34. Okay, so Spearman. We know Spearman was was the person who also propounded the practice of factor analysis in order to give his tetrad equations. So A is going to be matched up with one. Jensen. Jensen also gave a very regressive or regression argument wherein he talked about that racial differences and all of them played a very important role, and he also talked that there are few ethnicities who have lower IQ, etc. And whatever theory, like whatever he said, was actually backfired later. We know that Sternberg has a triarchic theory, and Cattell, fluid and crystallized intelligence are second order factors of intelligence, as we talked while discussing initially. So A is 1, B is 4. So it gives our answer. So 3 is our answer. Very well done everyone who answered correctly. Moving ahead to question number 35. Okay, the tendency to remember uncompleted task better than the completed one is known as Zeigarnik effect. It also talks about when we are interrupted a lot, then we are more prone to remembering that incident better. So uncompleted tasks are better remembered. It is known as Zeigarnik effect. Then we have interrogate amnesia, which is forgetting of the memory, and it is actually a disorder which is there where we are not able to form new memories. And retrograde, we are not able to form or we are not able to remember the previous memories that we have. Tip of the tongue has to do with the retrieval. The person is not able to retrieve whatever memory they have stored. Right, moving ahead to question number 36. Very simple question, please give an answer. Okay everyone, very well done. It is going to be procedural memory. It is going to be stored in the muscle memory. So yeah, a swimmer, the information on how to swim is stored in the procedural memory. Moving ahead to question number 37. The memories of our childhood would form a part of which of the following memory? Okay, very well done. It is going to be autobiographical memory, the memory of the person, and it can be somewhat related to the flashbulb memories. And flashbulb memory are different than that of autobiographical memory, but it can be a part of autobiographical memory, as flashbulb memory are those memory which are emotionally significant, or they have a high intense emotions accompanied with it. So here the answer would be autobiographical memory. Moving ahead to the next question. Who among the following are the Indian psychologists? Okay, so yes, fourth is our correct answer. Girendra Shekhar Bose was the person, one of the very few like initial people who started using psychoanalysis in India. SM Mohsin has also done a lot of work in terms of experimental psychology. CM Bhatia is the Bhatia battery, that the intelligence Bhatia battery that we use. There is no one named as Kosambi or Yogendra Singh. So A, B and C are the only viable options here. Moving ahead to question number 39. There are different theories of emotions which are written and their descriptions are given. Please give it a read. It is a lengthy question and then we would solve this question together. Okay, anyone else who would try to answer? Okay, cannon bad approach. Cannon bad approach, you can remember it. Simple, quick tip. Killing two birds with a stone. Simple. Like there's a cannon which kills two birds at one go. Okay? So, herein both emotions and like the autonomic body like responses, the physiological response would be like felt at the same time. Okay, so herein what is the option which is matching to this particular option? Okay, yes, fourth. Information about a stimulus producing emotion goes to thalamus, which relays the cortex and internal organs, causing the emotional awareness and bodily changes at the same time. Scatter-Singer approaches. So in Scatter-Singer approaches, our sensation, our cues plays an important role in what? In cognitive labeling of that particular emotion or that particular physiological change that is experienced by us. So here the answer would be felt emotional state are determined partly by the cognitive labeling of the feeling of the arousal. So B will match to 3. James Lange theory, you can always remember it by A and E. A comes before E, which means action comes before emotion. So there would be arousal which would be there before the experience of emotion. So awareness of bodily responses to a situation leads to experience of emotion. So C matches to 1. Okay, I'm writing here C matches to 1. And at last, opponent process theory would be where an opposite reaction would automatically follow an emotional response. So 1 C matches to 1. Okay, मैंने क्या बोल रही हूँ? A matches to 4 and B matches to 3, 4 and 3. So 3 is going to be our correct answer here. Moving ahead to the next question, question number 40. Who has proposed that the intelligence has 3 dimensions? We have talked about him so many times till now. Who gave 3 dimensions of intelligence? Okay, so here the question, please read the question carefully. The question says has three dimensions. ठीक है, triarchic theory was three types of intelligence like componential, etc. So Guilford was the one who said that intelligence has three dimensions, है ना. He said there are operation, there are contents, and there are products, and with both all of these three dimensions we will function, right? So there are different aspects which are there in operation, and operation majorly involves our mental processes, cognition, memory, divergent production, convergent production. Content are the domains or area in which the thinking of the mental processes which occur, maybe the visual stimuli, auditory stimuli, symbolic stimuli, behavioral, etc. Product are the outcomes of those particular thinking. So he has given these three dimensions. Sternberg's triarchic theory is very different than dimension. There are no dimension in the theory. They have talked about three different types of intelligences which are there. Okay? So herein, moving ahead to the next type, next question, question number 41. Okay, question number 40. Let me know when you guys are done with it, then I'll move ahead. Done. Okay, so moving ahead to question number 41. Okay, yes, very well done. Premack principle is not the contribution of Albert Bandura. He did his study majorly on the basis of observational learning. So he gave the concept of observational learning. Bobadil experiment was conducted, and it was also termed as the social cognitive approach which was there. So here in this question, Premack principle would be our correct answer, wherein we would contrast the situation and we would likely to engage in a behavior that we find more enjoyable. So Premack principle was given by David Premack. Okay, so in order for to do conditioning, we would use more enjoyable or more desired behavior. Okay, so we would like to use the reward which is more enjoyable for a less preferred activities. Okay, moving ahead to the next question. Broca's area is located in which of the following lobes of the brain? Okay, very well done, all of you. Broca's area lie in the frontal cortex, frontal lobe of left hemisphere, and it is important for speech production. And there is another area which is relevant to the processing of our language, which is Wernicke area, which is there in which lobe? Yes, very well done, everyone. It is in temporal lobe. Wernicke area is in temporal lobe, and our Broca area is in frontal lobe. And Wernicke area is also important for our speech comprehension. There are split brain studies which have also been done in this regard, wherein the aspects of language processing related to each area were tested in people who had split brain, and split brain is used for whose corpus callosum has been cut, or there was a lesion in their corpus callosum. Moving ahead to the next question, which of the following is not a complex component of self experiences by William James? Okay, very well done, everyone. The question says that which of the following is not a component of self experiences by William James. So, according to him, there is no intelligent me or selfish me. So, B and D are the correct option here. William James also led to the propounding of the school of functionalism, and herein he looked at self experience or the conscious thoughts like as a stream of consciousness, and he also differentiated, or he also gave the concept of empirical self or me, right? So there are different types of me: material me, social me, empirical me, spiritual me, etc. Okay, so here B and D are the only correct option, as they asked which of the following is not a component. Okay, moving ahead to question number 44. Yes, it is a assertion reason type question. Please give it a read and try to answer. Okay, let us read the statements first. Let us see if they are correct, and then we would see the reasoning is correct or not. So the assertion says that social factors are important in shaping our personality. Yes, they are really important. Then the reasoning says that Horney believed that poor relationship with parents can lead children to develop maladaptive ways of dealing with the relationship. Yes, this is also correct. But let us look at if reason explains the assertion well or not. Social factors are important in shaping the personality because Horney believed that poor relations with parents can lead to. Now it is partially explaining our assertion. because there are multiple social factors, not just relationship with parents, right? There are relationship with your peers, there are other like your self-esteem, like your maybe like academic part, like your relationship with your teachers, etc. So there are various social factors which are there, and it just talks about one factor, which is poor relationship with parents. So it does not explain it fully. That's why A and R are correct, but R is not the correct explanation. So we have done two questions till now wherein there was partial explanation. So just make sure if there is partial explanation, then we would say that it is incorrect. Okay? The reasoning should fully explain the assertion. Okay? Now moving ahead to question number 45, fairly very simple direct question. Please. So yes, very well done. The answer is localization. There is definition or the of localization only which is given. It says that identification of behavior to the brain area, which is the local function of the brain area. So it's localization. Okay. Moving ahead. Okay, somebody has asked me to move back to the previous question, so I'm changing this slide for a while. Let me know when you're done. Okay, moving ahead to question number 46. Very simple basic question. Please answer. Yes, very well done, all of you. Womb envy is not an archetype. Who proposed the concept of womb envy? Yes, very well done, Karen Horney. And we know that anima is the feminine side of a male. Shadow is the dark side of the personality, and animus is the masculine side of a female. Okay, moving ahead to the next question, question number 47. Please give it a read. Fairly simple question. Okay, so herein it is Horney. Yes, Gordon Allport was not a neo-Freudian. His approach was trait-based. Okay, whereas Erikson, Sullivan, and Horney were neo-Freudians. Moving ahead to the next question, fairly simple question. Which of the following physical changes occur in girls during puberty? Okay, so only and only larynx will not enlarge. Why? Because larynx enlarges in males. Otherwise, all the other options are correct. So A, B, D are correct, which means fourth is our correct option. Moving ahead to question number 49. Very simple question. The question asks which of the theorists propose that knowledge is socially constructed by child and other within the culture. Very well done, everyone. Vygotsky is the correct answer here. Jean Piaget talked about cognitive development. Lev Vygotsky talked majorly about constructivistic approach of, and he also gave the concept of JPD, zone of proximal development, wherein there is a zone which child will be able to, or there are few activities that child will be able to learn well with the able of others, or somebody who knows better, more knowledgeable other, with the more knowledgeable other. Erik Erikson also gave the various psychosocial stages of development. It is really important. Please learn all the names and all the virtues which are associated with the concept. And Sigmund Freud talked about psychosexual stages of development. Moving ahead to question number 50. Please read the question and answer. Okay, anybody else who would like to answer? Okay, let us read the question. The question asks about the types of reliability and the conditions which can be there. So split half, we know what do we do in split half. We take a particular form and we split it into two parts, and it can be done on the basis of odd, even, or first half, second half, etc. Right, so here there is going to be one testing session and there is one form which is involved. So one testing session and one form. So A is for 1. Then alternate form is when we have two separate parallel forms and we see if they both are, like, if it is related, if they are related, or if the scores which are like accumulated or given by them are similar to that of each other. So now it is done on immediate basis. So maybe they are done in one testing and there are two forms. Then in alternate form we know there are going to be two forms and it is delayed also. So two setting, two forms. Now in test retest is when we conduct the same questionnaire again on the same group of individual to see if the scores are consistent after a point or not. So the form that will be used will be one only, same form will be used, and it would be used two times. So two setting and one form. So it's D So A is for 1, B is for 2, C is for 4 and D is for 3. So 1 is our correct answer. Very well done, everyone. Moving ahead to question number 51. Very simple question. We discussed about it. We learnt it in this class only. Okay, very well done everyone. I'm so glad that you are all able to solve these types of questions now. Moving ahead to the next question, question number 52. Which among the following is not the component of big factor model of personality? Okay, yes. So it is also known as ocean model: openness, conscientiousness, extraversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. Nowhere conservatism is there, so 4 is going to be our answer, and it was proposed by Macrae and Costa. Big 5 factor. Okay, moving ahead to the next question, question number 53. Okay, so yes, very well done. Spearman-Brown formula explains the relationship between reliability and the length of the test. It is used when the length of the test is altered. For example, we have increased the number of items, and it will always and always be used on homogeneous tests or the test which measures the same construct. And this formula is only applicable on which like when the item difficulty of the added items are similar to that of the previous difficulty level which was there. Okay, moving ahead to question number 54. Very simple question, please try and answer. Okay, so the question asks, which of the following is an example of a primary reinforcer? Food is a primary reinforcer, water is also a primary reinforcer, money and token are secondary. So A and C only are the correct option here. Food, water, shelter, the basic needs are going to be the primary reinforcer. So A and C are correct. Moving ahead to the next question, question number 55. So we know that our autonomic nervous system has two divisions, sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. And sympathetic nervous system is basically needed when we have to fight or flight, or when our body needs to use its resources to respond to any stressful or dangerous situation, right? So what will happen if this is activated? The heartbeat will accelerate, digestion will slow down, pupils will widen, lungs will constrict. No, lungs will expand. So A, B and C are our correct option here. Very well done everyone. So all the features which will help us, so pupil will be widened, we will be able to have more visual field, we will be more alert, the lungs will expand, we will be able to get in more access to more oxygen, heartbeat will accelerate in order to keep up with the pace, keep up, like there are also times when our body temperature also starts raising up. Okay, so question number 56, there are various techniques which are there and the application of those techniques. So match the techniques with the application. Okay, the slide is not clear for everyone. Okay, so I'll try to read the question. So there are various techniques. There is MRI, there is fMRI, there is CAT scans and PET scans. Okay, and here their applications are given. So uses magnetic fields, radio waves and blood flow to detect the areas of activity within specific brain structure. fMRIs are the one which makes use of the blood flow. Bold signals are analyzed here. Blood oxygenated level dependent signals are measured here. Okay, then uses magnetic field and radio waves to create, yes, MRI is going to create that. Then CAT scan uses X-rays to create a 3D model of the brain, and PET scan would actually include injecting the radioactive tracer in order to see which brain area are responsible while doing a particular function. So A is for 2 and B is for 1. A is for 2, B is for 1, C is for 4. Okay, which gives us our answer. 2 is our correct answer here. Very well done to all of you who answered correctly. Moving ahead to question number 57. Which of the following influences the speed of the nerve impulse? Very well done everyone. Myelin sheet actually insulates the whole procedure of action potential, and myelin sheet also helps in protecting and repairing the cell or the nerve cell. Okay, moving ahead to the next question, question number 58. Arrange the following levels of moral development in the right order as suggested by Kohlberg.
Muskan, will you upload this lecture on YouTube?
Yes, I'll be uploading.
Okay. I think I'm suffering from the network problem.
Yeah, okay, sure.
It's very blurred from my side. Okay, thank you. Send the link in the group, please. Okay.
Okay, I'll do that.
Thank you.
Okay, bye bye. Take care. Okay, so question number 58 talked about the levels of moral development. We know that we have pre-conventional, conventional, and post-conventional, and among them there are two levels each, right? So initially what will be there? Initially there would be heteronomous morality. There would be pre-morality. The person would not be as moral as they should be. So the first would be B. Then after that the person will start to engage in good behavior for the instrumental purpose, for rewards and punishment. So the parents say that if you don't act nicely in front of the guests, then you would get punished, or maybe if you behave like a good boy, you will get a chocolate. So they do everything for the reward and punishment, for the exchange, for the instrumental purpose. So D is going to be 2. Then after that we will start to believe, like there is one more stage which is there in terms of the laws and everything, but it is not there. So we will begin to believe in the social system which is there, and our own conscience. We will see what is good to us and what is immoral to us, our own perception. Till now we were depending, until the pre-moral stage we were depending on our parents a lot, on the peers a lot. Okay, so it is going to be 3. After that, social contract, utility, individual rights. We would learn to know about all the constitutional rights, human rights, right to privacy, right to sleep, right to live, whatever. We will keep on indulging, or we would focus on these aspects. And then we have universal principle. At last we will look at morality as whole, as for everyone. So B, D, C, E, B, D, C, E. So fourth is going to be our correct answer. Many of you answered correctly. Very well done, everyone. Moving ahead to question number 59. Which of the following is not an instrument to evaluate newborn's physical well-being? Okay, so here 3 is going to be our correct answer. It is not a instrument. Apgar scale is responsible to see the physical state of the child, the physical well-being of the child, the physical condition of the child. Okay, then we have Brazelton neonatal behavioral assessment. We also look at the behavior, the if the child is crying, if the child frowns, if they move their hands, whatever. So neonatal behavioral assessment scale is also there, and there is a neurological examination which is there for the full term newborn infant. There is no such thing as neuroscientific assessment. So 3 is the correct answer. Question number 60. Which of the following substage of pre-conventional level moral as described by Kohlberg? Which of the following stages are a part of pre-conventional level by Kohlberg? Yes, very well done. We just discussed about it. It is heteronomous morality, and in addition to it, instrumentality. Okay. Then moving ahead to question number 61. Question number 61 says that who proposed the first scientific theory of color vision? Yes, very well done. Young was the first person to give the concept or the trichromatic color theory, which was later on expanded by Helmholtz. Herring also talked about the opponent processes of color vision, where he contrasted white, black, green, red, etc. And he said that when we look at one colors for so long and we look somewhere else, then there are residuals of the other colors which are formed, which is opponent processes theory. But the first theory was given by Young, trichromatic theory, RGB colors, and it was later on expanded by Helmholtz. So C only is the correct answer here. Moving ahead to question number 62. Please read the question. There are two statements and then answer. Okay, I'll read the question then. So there are two statements. The first statement says that in top-down processing, perception consists of recognizing and processing information from individual component of stimuli and moving to the perception of whole. So the statement one is saying that top-down processing means recognizing stimuli. Okay? And bottom-up processing is guided by the higher level knowledge, experience, expectation. So are these statement true? Are these statement false? One is true, second is false. Statement one is false and the other one is true. So okay then. So here in this particular question, most of you have answered correctly. So both the statements are correct. They are given in a like the opposite of them are given. The top-down processing is guided by the higher order functioning or the executive functioning. In top-down processing, we already have few expectations. For example, you have come to this class with some expectations. You are focusing on this class or concentrating on this class with your own, like with a preset expectation, right? But in bottom up processing, it is stimulus based. For example, right now you are focusing on the class, looking at the class, and someone just makes a loud noise, and you will look at that thing, which is stimulus based, which was not preset. You were not already concentrating on that, or you were not already expecting to concentrate or focus on that. It was sudden, it was stimulus based. You recognized the stimulus and then moved ahead by focusing on that stimulus. So both of the statements which were given were opposite and they were incorrect. So here 2 is the correct option. Now moving ahead to question number 63, it asks about the sequence of the structure of human ear. Okay, so when we talk about ears, first of all we have this temporal bone, then we have a oval window, then in terms of we have our ossicles which are there, which are HAS, hammer, anvil and stirrup. So 4 is going to be our correct answer, where the C, D, B, E and A. Okay. Moving ahead to question number 64, there are two statements. I hope it's... Is it better now? Okay. Okay, very well done, all of you. Both the statements are correct. Why? Pre-operational thinking is found in the pre-operational stage, which is there wherein it is typically found in the preschoolers. They do not know anything. They, like, the object permanence is also formed later on, and like they are learning the other areas. Like they are so much self-centered. There are centration which are there, so their thinking is very inflexible. They just think about their from their own perception. They're not able to think from others' perception. It is illogical, fragmented, and perceptually based thinking, which is found in preschoolers. Statement 1 is correct. Conservation is understanding that rearranging material does not alter the quantity. So shifting water from a container to a bowl will not change the quantity of the water. That is law of conservation. Moving ahead to question number 65. So the question basically states that a psychologist wants to determine whether listening to music while studying affects the test performance. So what treatment is the experimental and the control group likely to receive? Yes, very well done, everyone. The control group never receives any intervention, only experimental group receives the intervention. So the experimental group will listen to the music while studying, but the control group will not. So 2 is our correct option here. Moving ahead to question number 66. We have to match the school of thought with the concept. Okay, Geeta, I've changed the slide. Let me know when you are done. Okay, moving ahead to question number 66. Okay, let us read the question. The question states that we have to match the school with the thinking. Structuralism use the method of introspection. Functionalism, we just discussed William James. He used to think of self experiences or experience as a stream of consciousness. So functionalism school had that particular concept, stream of consciousness. Then Gestalt's code have the law of pranks. And behaviorism school focus more upon overt behavior. So A is for 1, B is for 4, which gives us our answer. 1 is our correct answer here. Moving ahead to question number 67. According to Freud, which part of the personality includes the perception of the individual, the kind of person he or she aims to become? Okay, very well done everyone. Yes, ego ideal will include the kind of person that the person aims to become, and it also, like, ego also has other function which is conscience. So ego has two parts, ego ideal and conscience of the individual. Okay, so if somebody, something like the person is okay, I will change the slide after this. So if there is any question which describes conscience, the person's like readiness, or the person's morality principle, somewhat where they are conscience, or where they know what works in the reality, or what they want to do or what they do not want to do, it would have to do with conscience, because it is also a part of ego. Okay, now I am changing to slide 66. Let me know when you are done, and then I would move ahead with question number 68. Okay, question number 68. We have two different statements. Please give it a read, and then we would solve it. Okay, so statement 1 says that reliability refers to the consistency of scores. Yes, it is. It is the core definition. When a test is reliable, it has to be valid. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. There are times when a test can be reliable. For example, I just made a survey, just like that, on random things. ठीक है, and I asked you to fill it, and then after a few time, then I also asked you to fill it. Maybe there can be consistency of scores, but it does not mean that my test is valid, or the test is accurate, or it measures what it intends to measure, right? So only statement 1 is true and statement 2 is false. Very well done. Now moving ahead to question number 69. We have a list of types of scale which are there. We have nominal, ordinal, interval and ratio scale, and we have to match it with its property. Okay everyone, nominal scale is like these are various scales of measurement. Nominal scale is when we have just named a variable, or maybe I have just given 1 2 3 to a variable, but it does not signify anything. I have just done it in order to identify the different aspects or identify different people, and in order to segregate them. So nominal scale can be used to identify person and object, and it is just for namesake. Then ordinal scale. Ordinal scale is rank based scale, right? So here and there will be difference in the successive unit. For example, the person who is first has 90%, then the person who is second has 80, third has 79. So 10 and 1. So there would be successive units of measurements, but they may be, or they are presumably unequal. Okay. Then interval scale. Okay, interval scale. Interval scale will not have a absolute zero. It will just have a reference zero, such as temperature. Okay. So 0 degree temperature also does not mean that there is absence of temperature, but it just has a reference zero, just for the sake of it. There is 0, and it is on continuous line. We have a name, we have a number to identify the person. Like it would also be in successive unit, and it is continuous in nature majorly. And ratio scale will have an absolute zero, such as weight, height, length, etc. Right? So A is 4, B is 3. A is 4, B 3. So it gives our answer. It is 3. Moving ahead to question number 17. The quality of a self-actualized person is. Okay, so obviously, like if we talk about the humanistic and the existentials approach which have been given, they have said that a person like who is self-actualized will be creative. They would want to try out new way, they would want to explore, they are innovative in their approach. They would not be insecure, they would be autonomous, they would be doing all the things by themselves, they would have authority within themselves, they will be doing things by their own, they will be unprejudiced. So A, C and D are the correct options here. They will not be insecure at all. So moving ahead to question number 71. Okay, so there is assertion and reason. Let us see them as statements first, and then we would see the reasoning. Insight can be attained through trial and error alone. Alone is a wrong word here. No, insight can be done even without trying for it. It is a sudden learning. So assertion is wrong. Then reasoning. Insight learning involves understanding of the relationship. Yes, it might involve that. So here A is false but R is true. And that's it from my end today. And now we are done with all the questions. Mic is not muted. Okay, yeah, they have muted them. So basically here we are done with almost 71 questions which were there asked in 2022 CUET paper. Now we'll take a 5-minute break, and then we will begin by solving 2021 paper, and it will be done with Disha ma'am. So you guys, we will be back after 5 minutes. Take a break and grab your coffees, whatever, and then we would begin again.
Yes, we'll just meet after 10 minutes.
Okay, 10 minutes. So we are
Okay,
meeting again
so
at
you can
45.
have your tea, have water and coffee. So yeah, yeah.